So as you can see in this picture, there is a graphic representation of Lord Krishna instructing to Arjuna. So in the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the chapter is called as Sanya Nirikshan Yoga, and sometimes it is also called as Arjun Vishad Yoga. So this section of Bhagavad Gita, this chapter 1, it deals primarily with the problems which Arjuna was facing in this world. Just try to understand what is the situation of Arjuna. Arjuna is not an ordinary person like all of us. He is a cosmic champion. He has conquered the demigods. He has got weapons from them. He is such a powerful personality and man of such an impeccable character. But still, when problems came in his life, he was bewildered. He did not know what was the right thing to be done. And Arjuna became bewildered. But in that state of bewilderment, he did one right thing. And that right thing was he approached a proper guru. And then he sought guidance. And then eventually he discovered himself, what is his true identity and what is the right course of action that he should follow. So similarly, all of us also, when we are situating in ourselves in this world, when we are living in this world, we don't know what is our identity, how we are supposed to respond in this world. When situations come in our lives, we don't know how to react, how to respond to the situations. And that is why it is very much essential that we have proper understanding by which we equip ourselves with this transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and that can help us to tackle the problems of this world in a very effective way. So with this small anecdote, we will start our today's session. That is the first session that we are going to start today. That is, one second, the pleasure hunt. Okay. So all of us in this world, we are searching after happiness. Okay. All the 7 billion people who are there in this world, and what to speak of human beings, even animals. What is the one thing that is driving all of our actions? It is just search for happiness, search for pleasure. Whether there is a small ant that is walking through the edge of the wall, or where is a small lizard that is wandering over near the tube lights, or there is a lion roaming around in the forest, or a fish swimming in the ocean, or a bird flying in the sky. What is the one thing that every living entity is searching after? That one thing is happiness. All we are trying to do is maximize our quality of happiness and reduce our distress which we are going through. That is pleasure hunt. So today's session we have divided into 4 parts. So these are the topics that we are going to discuss today. The first topic is search for happiness. Second, we will be looking into happiness in the animal kingdom versus happiness which are available to human beings. Then we'll understand what are the problems of life, and then we'll move on to our next session's introduction. Okay. So these are the 4 parts in which we have divided the session. Open a Coke, open happiness. So happiness is promised in the things of this world. All the advertisements that we are seeing around, that is just giving us a promise of happiness. Like here are a few examples I have shown. Like there are a few commodities and their taglines. Just by reading their tagline, you can understand that this is just a promise for happiness. Sheer driving pleasure. McDonald's, I'm loving it. Gillette, the best a man can get. L'Oreal Paris, because you are worth it. It is trying to prove that you are worth this commodity. Like this. Nike, just do it. Just do it. If you think that this is going to give you pleasure, just do it. So like this, different taglines are there. Try it, you will like it. Like this. Apple, think different. Again, Coke, open happiness. KFC, it's finger licking good. So all the commodities that we are seeing, actually advertisement which you are seeing, they are just showing people with so much happy faces and happy relationships. And that gives us a sense of idea that, okay, if I get this commodity, if I purchase this commodity, then I will also be similarly happy like this person. And that is what is driving us towards this consumerism that we are caught up in this world. And my favorite is this Amazon logo. So some of you might be knowing what does this Amazon logo stands for. So it stands for that all the commodities from A to Z, everything is available. And when you purchase things from Amazon, you will have a smile on your face like this logo. So that is another significance of this logo. So all the commodities, they are just, trying to push us, purchase this. By getting this, you will be happy. By shaving with our, razor, you will be happy. By taking bath with our soap, you will be happy. By drinking this product, you will be happy. By eating this product, you will be happy. You need to go there. You need to come here. You need to travel by this train. You need to take this cab. So everywhere there is just this assurance of happiness. But unfortunately, we see in the human society, in spite of so many promises for happiness, our hearts are empty. There is so much anger in this world. Some people resort to drinking and self-destructive habits out of frustration because they are not able to feel that happiness. People are experiencing loneliness. And on the social media, all these advertisements are just bombarded again and again just to prove us that this is what is going to make you happy. This is what you should do. And unfortunately, out of all this, some people even commit suicide. Like recently, one Bollywood actor, famous Bollywood actor, he committed suicide. And a lot of people are talking about it. But factually, the situation is no matter who you are, till the time we don't cater to the needs of the soul, just taking care of the material comforts, just bombarding ourselves and surrounding ourselves with material comforts is not what is going to give us happiness. That is not going to give us satisfaction. But we see in the animal kingdom, things happen to be going quite well. We don't see animals committing suicide. Like for example, one day you are walking on the street and you see that one dog, his girlfriend, she dog, she left him, and out of frustration, this male dog, he committed suicide. No, we don't see that. Animals don't commit suicide. So this brings us to a next question, that what is the difference between the quality of happiness of a human being and animal? So in 2005, there was one famous biologist. He conducted some experiments, he conducted some research, and on the basis of that research, he proved that out of all the species which are present on this planet, there is one particular species whose contribution to the environment is negative. If that species is removed from the face of the earth, all the problems of this world will be solved. There will be no more ozone depletion. There will be no more deforestation. There will be no more air pollution. The air will be, water will be much purer, and all other species will be much happier than what they are experiencing right now. Can you guess what is that species? Some of you might have guessed. That is Homo sapiens. Human beings, correctly. Homo sapiens, human beings. So why is it that you see, if a student is the most intelligent boy of the class, then he's supposed to contribute the most toward the environment. He's supposed to contribute the most toward the classroom. He's supposed to sit in the first bench. He's supposed to ask questions by which everyone can benefit. But why we see that in this classroom of ecology, the so-called most evolved species, that is the human being, that is creating the greatest amount of disturbance in the society. So to answer this question, we have to draw a comparison between a human beings and animals, and the way humans think and the way animals are programmed to think. So there are some activities which humans and animals, both of them do. One of them is eating. So animals eat. There is a panda that is eating his bamboo. Then sleeping. Animals also sleep. Human beings also sleep. Mating. Animals also procreate and bring about their progeny. And there is defense. So animals also defend their territories. If someone else comes into their territories, they defend themselves, or in order, if someone is attacking their families, they defend themselves. Now interestingly, human beings are also doing the same things. Human beings also eat, human beings also sleep, human beings also mate and produce children, and human beings also defend themselves. So if you closely analyze what are the activities that you are doing right from the morning when you wake up till the time you are going to bed at night, all of your activities can be expressed as a function of these four activities. Just like any number can be expressed as a product of its prime factors, similarly all the activities that we are doing, that can be expressed as a function of these four primary activities: eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Okay. Now you may think, okay, we do many other activities. For example, let us say we can talk on the phone, but what you are talking about? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Generally, these kind of questions mother asks. What you had for breakfast? What you are having for your lunch? Are you getting proper sleep? Okay. What is the conversation that is most popular in the college days, especially in youth days? About something about sports or something related to politics. Again, these are just social defense. You are trying to defend yourself in the position. Why someone studies very hard and tries to get a first rank in the class just to impress others, okay? Especially the girls. This can be expressed as a function of mating and also defending your social position amongst your friend circle. So now you may tell ki, we can play sports also. But sports also, why you are playing sports? A person plays sports just to prove himself. Again, it is a function of defense. You can travel, you can tell that we are traveling from one place to another. But what you are going to do after going there? Again, same thing: eating, sleeping, mating, defending. So all of our activities can be expressed as a function of these four activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. And fortunately, you see, fortunately or unfortunately, animals are better than human beings when it comes to these four things: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. For example, a human being can eat this a few pounds of rice or any other commodity that is available to him, but an elephant can eat 100 times greater than this. Okay. Now you may tell ki we are eating in a 5-star restaurant, so our quality of happiness is better than the quality of happiness which a panda or another animal is experiencing living in the forest. But no, this happiness is very relative. For example, let us say you give a plate of nice of your nicely prepared your 5-star restaurant food items. You give it to a pig, you give it to a boar. Then the pig is going to just ignore it. The pig is not going to accept it, because for the pig, that is a low level of enjoyment compared to the enjoyment of eating stool. Okay. So we cannot say that in these four activities we are experiencing greater joy, greater happiness than animals. Similarly, sleeping. Now we may sleep in the on a luxurious bed. We may sleep on a, nowadays they have called as water beds. Okay. So if you sleep on this water bed, you will have this, you will get the feeling that as if you're sleeping over water. It is so much comfortable, and it is so much cozy water bed. And an animal, for example dog, can just sleep on the railway station. Dog does not want, a dog does not depend on external comforts. Similarly, in terms of mating, there are certain animal species that can mate more than 20 times during a day. But if a human being tries to do that, he is going to die, because that is just beyond our capacity. Similarly, defense. Animals have, these nails on their hands. Animals have, big tooth. Some animals have horns on their head. So the defense mechanism also in animal is much, much more advanced than what a human being can do. Okay. And you can see other parameters also. For example, let us say Usain Bolt. Usain Bolt is the fastest man on this planet, and his speed is approximately 1/6 of that of cheetah. Or even a cat can run faster than Usain Bolt. You can just search this on the internet: what is the fastest speed of a human being and how fast animals are there. So in these instinctive activities of eating, sleeping, mating, defending, animals are much, much more superior to human beings. So this raises a fundamental question in our mind, that what is that one thing that makes human beings superior to animals? So this answer is given in the Mahabharata. So this is a verse from Mahabharata. So the verse goes like this: Ahar nidra bhayamaithunam cha samanyametat pashubhe naranam dharmo hitesham adhiko vishesho dharme nahina pashubhe samana. So it tells that eating, sleeping, sex, and defense, these four principles are common to both human beings and animals. The distinction between human life and animal life is that a man can search after God, but animal cannot. This is a difference. Therefore, a man without that urge for searching after God is no better than an animal. Now, it may sound very much, distasteful or not very palatable to us, but unfortunately, that is what the scriptures talk about. If we are not utilizing this human form of life in searching after God, then we are basically wasting it just like animals. Animals are something, their activities can be limited to eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, because animals are programmed to go that way. Animals find happiness in these instinctive activities. Why I'm telling this word again and again, instinctive activities, because animals go by their instinct. For example, let us say you go to a marketplace, you go to a shopkeeper who is selling some vegetables, and oftentimes you might have noticed that there is a cow that comes or buffalo that comes and he just starts eating those vegetables, and the shopkeeper is just with his stick, he's just trying to shooing him away, and after some time the buffalo goes away, and after sometimes again he comes and he starts eating that. Okay. So that is something, that is meaning of going by the instinct. You get an impulse and you immediately act on it. That is something which what animals do. But a human being, he's supposed to have ethics. Human being, a civilized human being, is supposed to not go by his instincts, but by his, ethics. For example, let us say you go to a friend's house, and your friend's mother, she offers some rasgulla in a bowl or something. Now, is it like that? You, as soon as you see, you immediately just start putting it around? No. At least till the time parents are around, you will find that okay, they'll tell you okay, okay, help yourselves with some rasgulla, and then you will start eating. That is, basic human ethics. But if human beings are devoid of this ethics, then humans are no better than animals. And these days we see in the human society that more and more people are becoming degraded. The civilization is going more and more degraded. There is increased depression rate, there is increased suicides, the crime rates are increasing. All of this is just the product of this unethical behavior which human beings are doing. And that is something which was predicted in the scriptures long back. As you can read in the last line of this translation, a human being without that urge for searching after God is no better than an animal. Animals can be just happy doing eating, sleeping, mating, defending. But if human beings are also doing just the same thing without understanding the higher goals of life, then their situations become very much, degrading. And that was the reason why in the beginning of session we were discussing why human beings are contributing the most negative to the environment. Because human beings are searching after something, human beings are not doing something that they are not meant to do. Their happiness should not be limited to just eating, sleeping, mating, defending. Human beings are supposed to understand some, they have to access some higher realms of happiness that is only limited to human beings. Animals cannot reach that. And that is why there is a next story. There's an interesting story in this regard, the story of Alexander the Great. So all of you must have heard his name, Alexander the Great. He was a famous king, and he had conquered all directions. His glories were spread in all directions. So one fine day, what happened? When he was in India. So during the daytime, one thief entered into his tent, his his and his army men's tent, and that thief was stealing something. And unfortunately, he got caught. Some of the soldiers of Alexander, they caught hold of this thief and they brought him before Alexander. And they were presenting their case that there is this thief and we have caught him red-handed, that he was stealing some of the valuables which belong to you. And the Alexander immediately told that hang him, he should be killed immediately. The thief, he became very angry. He told, how dare you say something like this? And Alexander was bewildered. He was thinking, first this fellow is getting caught red-handed, and now he is complaining against me. How can you do this? I am the king, I can do anything. Alexander asked him, what makes you think that I should not punish you? That the thief told, actually, what I am doing and what you are doing, that is the same. I am a thief on a small scale and you are a thief on a greater scale. You have the resources, you have your army. That is why you are attacking the kingdoms and you are taking away their wealth. I don't have that resources. That is why I'm just stealing it in night time during, hiding from others. But activity, as soon as you speak of activity, what you are doing and what I am doing, both are the same. So if I am to be hanged, you should also be hanged. So Alexander was quite impressed with this answer and he decided to let him go, this thief. So one important thing to understand, that just like Alexander and that thief, similarly human beings and animals, both are doing the same thing. Until the time human beings don't realize that there are some higher goals to be achieved in life, their quality of life is no better than that of animals. So that is why we are just, this person was Alexander the Great, and till the time we don't inquire about the higher goals of life, we will be animal the great. Like in Sanskrit they called it at dvipad pashu. Dvipad pashu means two-legged animals. So something like this. No, scriptures talk about 5 levels of our existence. Okay. So the most basic level is Annamaya Kosh. Annamaya Kosh means, the physical body. So Annamaya Kosh relies mostly on just acquiring things. Some or the other, you are trying to acquire things more and more. Okay. When the consciousness develops higher than this Annamaya Kosh, then comes the Pranamaya Kosh. That is the energy body. Pranamaya Kosh is, you're not just concerned about acquiring things, you are concerned about protecting yourself. Okay. So in Annamaya Kosh, you just want to do things that give you immediate happiness. But on Pranamaya Kosh, on coming to the Pranamaya standard, you start inquiring little bit. Okay, maybe doing this is not good for me. That is why even though I feel like doing it, I should not do it. For example, let us say a person is suffering from diabetes. So before he realizes that he's suffering from diabetes, he may take up whatever food he wants to take. But once he reaches that Pranmaya Kosh, he realizes, okay, taking sweets is not good for me, so I'll not take it. That is a little higher understanding. A level higher than that is the Manomaya Kosh, that is the emotional body. When a person is satisfied with the needs of his physical body, then he starts to connect with the people around him, and then he starts to socialize, and he tries to get some moral support to people, give moral support to people, take moral support from them. That is Manomaya Kosh. A level higher than that is the Vigyanmaya Kosh. When he starts inquiring about the higher goals of life, about, okay, what is the purpose of life, why we are suffering in this world, why is there a God, is there a way to connect with him? And ultimately when he starts inquiring like this, he comes to the stage of Anandamaya Kosh. And that, as the name suggests, Ananda means, in Sanskrit there are two words. One is called as Sukha and one is this Ananda. So Sukh means the pleasure that you are acquiring through sense objects of this world. For example, nice food, nice scene to see, nice fragrance to smell. This is something that is going to give you pleasure, Sukh, material happiness. And human beings are supposed to go a level higher and reach the state of Anandamaya stage. Anandamaya means total blissful state, when your happiness is not dependent on the things of this world. When your happiness, like Bhagavad Gita tells that, what was that verse? Yam labdhva cha param labham manyante nadhikam tata yasmin sthito na dukkena gurunapi vichalyate. So in the 13th chapter, Lord Krishna is telling that yam labdhva cha param labham, after attaining which there is nothing else to be attained. Manyante nadhikam tata, there is nothing superior to that state. Yasmin sthito na dukkena, one who is situated in that position, na dukkena Gurunapi vichalyate. So even if that person faces the greatest calamity, even if that person's faces the greatest misery of his life, still that person will not be bewildered. That is, Anandamaya stage. So out of all these five, animals are limited to just first three: Annamaya Kosh, Pranmaya Kosh, and Manomaya Kosh. Only human beings are given access to these two higher understandings, that is Vijnanamaya Kosh and Anandamaya Kosh. So that is this 5 level of existence that the scriptures talk about. So it is uh, it is the goal of human being that they inquire about these two problems: why am I suffering, and what is the goal of life? Basically, how can I put an permanent end to this suffering that I am undergoing right now? So in Sanskrit, that is called as Atyantika Anarth Nivriti and Atyantika Arth Pravriti. So what is negative, what is separating me from happiness, that is suffering, that I want to move aside, I want to get rid of them. And second thing is, I want to experience positive happiness. These are two fundamental goals which a human being is supposed to inquire about. Now, before understanding what is pleasure, first let us understand what are the problems that separate us away from pleasure. What is that thing that gives us, a state that brings us into a state of discomfort with the environment? So, problems of life. Now, if the session was little longer, then usually we take inputs from audience. Okay, what do you feel are different problems of life? And some people say corruption, some people say bad weather, some people tell diseases, some people tell rainfall. Like this, different people tell different corruption and kidnapping, terrorism, so many things. But there is a saying in English that one man's poison in other is another man's food. For example, let us say if it is rainy season, okay, then for most of people it is a big problem because they cannot go out for office, and if they are going out, they will go late, or there are different problems arising with it. There is kitchen everywhere, and people are not able to people become very much disturbed. But for an umbrella seller, he wishes that a whole of the year should be rainy season because that is his season. In that season, he is going to earn most profit, and throughout the year, he is going to survive through that. So, what is problem for one person is an opportunity for another. Just like a person can meet with an accident, and that is a problem for that person. Okay, my car got wrecked and I got hurt. But for the doctors, that is an opportunity. Doctors wish that there are more patients. There is a mechanic, he will feel that there should be more accidents, of course, minor ones, so that the person who is going through accident, he doesn't die and he lives for to pay for that repairing of that car. So what is problem for one person is an opportunity for another. But scriptures tell that real problems of life are those problems which satisfy these three criteria. What are these three criteria? First is, they should be common to all. Second, no one wants it. And third, no one can avoid it. That is the criteria that is going to define what is a real problem. Real problem should be common to all. Whether someone is a boy or a girl, whether someone is rich or poor, black or white, or Asian or African or American, whatever complexion a person is having, whatever economic status a person is having, these problems are common to all. And no one wants it, because what is the use of having a problem if someone wants it? No one wants a problem, and no one can avoid it. No one can get rid of it at any cost. That is, these are the criteria for the real problems of life. And I'm sorry to tell that there is not just one, but there are four such problems which no one wants, no one can avoid it. That is common for all. First thing is birth. Happy birthday. So when a person is born, you will find that everyone around him is happy except that person, because that is a real problem of life. Janma. Now, most of us don't remember how we were born, and that memory is gone from our mind. But that does not mean that we are not miserable at that time. You imagine if you are kept in a airtight container, and that container is filled with mucus, stool, bile, urine, and there are worms biting you from all sides, and sometimes there are gastric acid fired upon you. What will be your situation? Is that a very pleasurable situation? No. So that is the situation of a child who is within the womb of his mother. If the mother eats something too bitter, then the child is scorched with the gastric fire, and he experiences burning sensation inside the belly. And sometimes out of that frustration, he just kicks the belly. And that too in an upside down position. Like sometimes in the teachers in the classroom, they tell ki agar ये काम नहीं किया तो तुमको उल्टा लटका देंगे. So ulta latkana is not something very much, pleasurable situation for us. And that is the situation of the child in the womb of a mother. So that is why the first real problem of life is birth. Birth itself is a problem. Getting born in the material world is itself a problem. That is janma. Second is death. So scriptures tell that death is the most painful experience that a person experiences in his life. It is told in the scriptures that death, the pain of death, is equivalent to 50,000 scorpions biting you at the same time. Can you imagine? That is the misery. That is the problem of death. 50,000 scorpions. Now, I don't know how many of you have this experience of getting bitten by a scorpion, but for one who has got this experience, that is a really painful experience. No one wants that. And 50,000 scorpions biting you at the same time. My lord, such a big problem. Then next problem is that of old age. No one wants to become old, but still all of us have to undergo this. Our skins will be wrinkled, our bones will be deformed, our eyes will go inside our eye sockets, our mouths, our tongue is going to dry up, our lips are going to turn blackish, we are going to lose the hair on our head, we are going to become very weak physically. That is unfortunately what is going to happen to all of us. Old age. Once upon a time, what happened, one of our seniors, he went to a hospital, and he was talking with another patient, and from the corner of the room he heard a shout. There was an old man, and he just threw something on the ground and said, "Damn it!" And then this senior, he went to him and he asked, "What is the problem?" And this old man, he told him, "For past half an hour, I'm just trying to cut my nails. I'm just not able to do this." So he asked, "What is the problem with just cutting your nails? You just take the nail cutter and do it." And this person told, "Actually, there are a lot of problems because my eye is not functioning properly. I've lost my eyesight. It is very difficult for me to focus, to just reach out to my nails. It is, just like a camera that has lost its focus. You cannot focus on one place. Everything just appears to be hazy if your eye is not proper." So that is what this person was telling. My eyes are not functioning properly. My hands are shaking as I'm holding this nail cutter in my hand. My hand is shaking and I'm not able to reach to my feet. And even though somehow I try to reach to my feet, I'm experiencing so much pain because of the bending, because I have to bend my legs. And my senior who was seeing this, he became very much alarmed. My lord, this is what old age is about. So obviously we think that old age is, another species. It is something that we don't have to undergo. But unfortunately, we have to realize that this is a real problem of life, old age. And then there is next problem, that is disease. Disease. The name itself says that something that is not very ease, something that does not put you in at ease, something does not put you at comfortable position. That is vyadhi. So Bhagavad Gita tells that Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshanam. Any person who can see these four things, birth, death, old age, and disease. These things are the real problems of life. That person is supposed to be an intelligent person. These are the four real problems of life. Now, some of you may ask, okay, birth was something that happened long time ago, and I don't remember it now. So how does it matter? And disease also, occasionally we get diseases, but most of the time we are healthy. Old age also, it is going to come a long time after it, so why worry about it now? And death also is going to come at a much later stage. But right now I am happy. Why you are making me depressed by making me think of all this? But answer is no. Unfortunately, we are always in a state of discomfort with our environment. Apart from these four problems, there are three more that we cannot escape. These are called as threefold miseries of life. In Sanskrit, these miseries are called as klesha. So there are three kinds of klesha. There is adhyatmic klesha, there is adi bhautik klesha, and there is adi daivik klesha. Adhyatmic klesha is the misery that is caused by one's own mind and body. So you see, for each part of our body, there is a specific doctor. There is a doctor for eye. There is a doctor for our teeth. dentist. There is a doctor for our skin, dermatologist. There is a doctor for our heart, cardiologist. There is a doctor for our brain and the nerves that are going around this body, neurologist. Every part of the body is having a doctor. What it means? It means that each and every part of our body is capable of making us miserable. Each and every part of body is capable of making ourselves miserable, and that is adhyatmic klesha. What to speak of mind? Bodies, people don't commit suicide because of physical pain, but mental pain, mental misery, my lord, it person just cannot tolerate it. And that is the first category of miseries, that is adhyatmic klesha. Second category, adi bhautik klesha, misery caused by other living entities. Even if your body is healthy, your mind is like peaceful, there you are always surrounded by the people who don't want you to be happy. There may be some family members, there may be your friends, there may be some of your enemies, there may be your neighbors, or maybe neighbor's dog who is going to bark just in the middle of the night when you are getting sleep, or just a mosquito. We are always surrounded by these forces that are going to make us miserable. That is adi bhautik klesha, the miseries that is caused due to other living entities. Third class of miseries is adi daivik klesha, the miseries that is caused by higher powers that are beyond us, the miseries that are caused by demigods. For example, excessive heat, excessive cold, tornado, super cyclone. Recently, super cyclones were coming in different parts of the country. So these are some things that are, controlled by the demigods. These are adi daivik kleshas. So apart from janma mrityu jara vyadhi, there are these three kleshas that are going to be creating problematic situations for all of us. Okay, now some of you can tell, but human beings are advanced. Human beings are not like animals, so they have some solutions for these four problems. For example, first solution is science. Using the science, using scientific tools, scientific gadgets, we can. Science has helped us to improve a lot in terms of medical science. There are a lot of diseases that have been eradicated from the face of the earth. And what about old age? For old age, you have this plastic surgery, you have facelift, by which you have different adjustments you can make in different parts of your body. For example, someone has lost his power to hear, then the hearing aid is provided by science so that this person can start hearing again. If eyes are having some problem, then he can undergo this cataract operation and the eyes will be able to see again. These are some solutions given by science, but there is a limitation to it. The limitation is it is just a symptomatic relief. It is just addressing the symptoms of the problem. It is not addressing the real problems. For example, let us say on the face, if you have some acne, okay, so temporary relief is you just use some Photoshop so that you look better in your images. Okay, so that is symptomatic relief. That is something that addresses the symptoms. Permanent solution will be why that impurity, why that acne is coming on your face, because of some impurity in the blood. So you drink some blood purifier, and that addresses the root of the problem, and that solves the problem. But we see that the solution that science is offering, that is creating bigger problems than the problem itself. For example, earlier people used to walk on the road. Okay, now some of the men thought that walking is very much problematic, so let us have horse cars. So horses are going to drive the cars for us, and that is how we can reach from one place to another place faster. But this created a problem, two problems basically. First problem is, because they are horses, they are going to pass a stool anywhere, and that is going to create a dirty situation. Or these horses are moving very slow. Okay, so what to do to make it go fast? Then cars were invented. Okay, so these two problems were addressed, that now you can go from one place to another place faster than what time it used to take using the horses. And second thing is, cars don't pass a stool here and there. Okay, but it led to a bigger problem, that cars lead to air pollution. Now polluted land is something that you can tolerate, but polluted air, you are sacrificing something that is a necessity. So you are what science is providing, luxuries at the cost of necessities. For example, free air is a necessity. clean water is necessity, but science is destroying that, and it is providing some luxury at the cost of these, necessities. So the solutions given by science are symptomatic. They don't address the real problems. Yes, science cannot give a permanent solution, although science has helped us to eradicate so many diseases from the planet. But there are so many much more worse and much more complicated diseases that are coming up. Uh, One particular disease is removed, another disease comes up. That is removed, another disease is coming up. So it goes to show that we cannot avoid these problems just by scientific adjustment and scientific advancement. Second symptomatic solution is sense indulgence. Like, why you are worrying yourself with the problems of life? You just for try to forget about it. You know, just try to drink or smoke or take drugs, and by this you can forget about these problems which you are going to undergo. Now this is something, like there is an animal, there is a bird called as ostrich. So ostrich has a very strange habit. So what ostrich does, if he's seeing that cannibal, or sorry, not cannibal, a carnivorous animal is coming up, like lion or tiger, what the ostrich does, it puts his head inside a sand and just closes its eyes. And because his head is inside that sand, he is not able to see that lion coming up now. And he thinks that, okay, now my problem is solved because I am not seeing it. So that is something very much foolish. Okay? Because the lion is going to come anyway and is going to eat him anyway. So sense indulgence, by going to parties, by some sort of distracting entertainment, watching movies, taking drugs, these can give us some temporary solace, but these are not going to address these four real problems. Whether you watch movies or not, you are going to die. Whether you watch movies or not, you are going to become old. Whether you watch movies or not, whether you take to drugs or not, you are going to become old. These problems are not addressed on the root level by this sense indulgences. Third solution which we have in the human society is some self-help methods. Like there are some authors who write books that you can win, kar lo duniya mutti mein. But there was an article in Times of India. It tells that self-help does not actually help. It can help you, it can give you some positivity. Okay, you can do it. But how many people are actually getting benefited from these books? Only the person who is writing this book, he becomes happy because he has 1 million copies sold, he becomes a millionaire. But it is not that every person who is reading these books is going to be happy. And that is also just a distraction from the real problems of life. And fourth kind of solution is superficial rituals. For example, एस्ट्रोलॉजी, ठीक है, ये आपका गड़बड़ चल रहा है, आपका शनि का 7.5 है, तो आप ये पर्टिकुलर अंगूठी पहन लीजिए, या फिर ये पर्टिकुलर मंत्र का आप चैंटिंग करिए, देन क्या होगा कि इससे आपका प्रॉब्लम चला जाएगा. Like here in the cartoon they are saying, on this one Babaji is telling this boy, chant this mantra and you will pass in the exams. Okay? So these are some superficial rituals. Now again, I want to make it clear at this point of time, I am not telling that these four things, science, sense indulgence, self-help and superficial rituals, I'm not telling that these don't work. These are working, but they are just giving us symptomatic relief. For example, a person has met with an accident. Now you cannot tell, okay, because science cannot solve the problem, so I'm not going to get admitted to the hospital. No, that is foolish. Let us say your mood is off and your mother gives you some nice cook some nice halwa for you. So you should not tell, okay, this is sense indulgence, I will not take this. Okay? Similarly, self-help books also and rituals. Astrology also is a bona fide science. It is a bona fide spiritual science. Unfortunately, there are many bogus gurus and many false, not many bona fide scientists in this field, astrology, and that is why people get cheated. But yeah, it is an bona fide science. But these four things, what I'm trying to focus here is, they are not addressing, they are not addressing the root of this problem. That is the problem which is there with this solution. These solutions are just symptomatic. They are just addressing the symptoms, not the root cause. Now we are moving toward the end of the sessions. So there's a wonderful poem I found it somewhere on the internet. This title of the poem is something like this: life, it makes you think. So there are a few. One second, I need to plug my charger. So we are moving toward the end of this session. So the title of the poem is Life, It Makes You Think. So in this poem, the poet has very beautifully presented the modern day paradoxes in a very satirical way. So we have taller building but shorter tempers. We have wider freeways but narrower viewpoints. We spend more but have less. We buy more but enjoy it less. We have bigger houses and smaller families, more conveniences yet less time. We have more degrees but less sense, more knowledge but less judgment, more experts yet less solutions, more gadgets but less satisfaction. You see, all the gadgets that we are having, in spite of all these, the suicide rates and all the problems of life, these are just enhancing more and more. The crime rate is increasing more and more. I'll share a story. Recently, I read in one article in the newspaper. Uh, in one of the cities, what happened? A married man and his wife, they were having a dispute. They were having some disagreement, and the man becomes very angry and he yells at his wife, if you don't agree to what I tell, I'm just going to throw this baby out of the window. And he just took his 3-month-old baby outside the window. And this wife was telling, ये क्या है तुम्हारा बेटा है ना मेरा भी मेरे अकेले का बेटा थोड़ी है तुम्हारा बेटा भी जाएगा. And he was just shouting, she was just shouting like this. And this person, he felt his ego was getting hurt. And he just threw the baby. And this mother, she just, Lord, what you have done? Immediately she came running down the building. And what she saw two dead bodies there. After throwing the baby, and this person realized that what I have done. And he himself also jumped from that building. And like that, 2 people dead just because of the short temper of one person. So you see, we have taller buildings but shorter tempers. So we have more medicines but less wellness. We take more vitamins but we see fewer results. We smoke, what is this? We drink too much, we smoke too much, we spend too recklessly, we laugh too little. We drive too fast and get too angry quickly. We stay up late, we get up too tired and read too seldom. Now these days we are having a big problem. These days students are not having, their attention span has gone so low. We just give them some assignments, you just read this article, you just read solve these few papers. Students just keep on complaining that we cannot just sit. Students have lost their, the capacity to sit for hours. Like we used to, just few years ago, when we used to prepare for our JEE exams, we used to study for like 3-4 hours in one sitting. Nowadays students cannot focus, their attention span is so much, less. Half an hour, 45 minutes, after 45 minutes practically the students are clueless what is going on in the classroom. So all of these habits are coming up because students are reading too less, watch too much TV and pray too seldom. We have multiplied our positions but reduced our values. We fly in faster planes to arrive there quicker and to do less and return sooner. So everyone is in the hurry in this modern world. Everyone just wants to go from one place to another. But what is the goal? What is the purpose? That we are clueless about. We sign more contracts only to realize fewer profits. We talk too much, love too seldom, and lie too often. We make faster planes but longer lines. We learn to rush but not to wait. We have more weapons but less peace. Higher incomes, lower morals. More parties, less fun. More food, less appeasement. More acquaintances, fewer friends. A few years ago in IIT, there was one very tragic semester in our IIT Kharagpur. Around 3-4 students committed suicide in the one semester only, and this created a lot of talking and a lot of conversation throughout, the KGP community, that why students are committing suicide. Someone is living in a hostel where he has 1,000 other students with him, but still the person is feeling lonely. He has 1,000 friends in his friend list on Facebook, but still more acquaintances but fewer friends. More effort but less success. What is this? We build more computers to hold more information, to produce more copies than ever, but we have less communication. We drive small cars that have bigger problems, build larger factories but produce less. We have become long on quantity but short on quality. These are times of fast food and slow digestion. Tall men, short character. Steep in profit, shallow relationships. These are time of world peace versus domestic warfare. More leisure, less fun. Higher postage, slower mails. More kind of food, but less nutrition. These are days of two income, but more divorces. Something very much relatable to all of us. These are days of two incomes. The wife and husband, both of them are earning, and they are earning quite a good amount. But still, there are more divorces. There are times of fancier houses but broken homes. Quick trips, disposable diapers, cadres living, throwaway mortality, one night stands, overweight bodies, pills that do everything from cheer to prevent to quiet to kill. It is a time when there is much in the show window and nothing in the stock room. Indeed, these are the times. So this was this poem. What this author is trying to tell that in the world which we are living in, we are just focusing more on the externals, how we look ourselves, how others think of us. Rather than that, we should try to find inner satisfaction. Uh, and that once when a person attains that state, then the problems in this world cannot disturb him. So, like this, Albert Einstein tells that we cannot solve the problems by using the same kind of thinking we used to create them. So, all of these problems which we are facing in this world, these are just a product of our materialistic lifestyle. And on the platform of matter, we cannot solve this problem. We have to go a little higher to address the problem. And that is where the search for spiritual inquiry kicks in the picture. So thank you very much. This was the session all about. Now, I know some of you might be thinking that whole of this session I was just talking about the problems. The title of the session was Pleasure Hunt, but it was not something much talked about. The problems were more focused on, and actually that was the purpose of this session. Sometimes in order to arouse a serious search for spirituality, we need to really shake that person. For example, a person is in deep slumber. How we are going to wake that person up? He has to be jolted very hard, and that is going to wake him up from his deep state of sleeping. Or sometimes, the person is just drowsing, and the carpet has to be pulled from beneath his knee just to make this person understand what is going on in this world. So unfortunately, the propaganda that is going on in this world is just you try to ignore these problems and try to enjoy life. But no, we should not be like that ostrich who is just trying to put his head into the sand thinking that nothing is going to happen. Eventually all of us to go through these problems. We have to become diseased, we have to become old, we have to die. So we should start searching for that spiritual enlightenment. And so we saw in this session how there are 4 temporary solutions. In the next session we'll see what is the permanent solution. And most important of all, we have to understand the creator who had designed it all, because there is a person who has created this world, and there are so many problems in this. So we should inquire who is that person who manufactured this and what was his intention. Like, in a famous old Bollywood song is there, Duniya banane wale kya tere man mein samai, kahe ko duniya banai. So what was in his mind that he created so many problems, and what we are supposed to learn from this. So this shall be inquiry of our next session that will be happening on Saturday or Sunday. We'll be notifying in the Telegram group. That is the second session, that is the God mystery. So did man make God, or is there a definite proof for his existence? Sometimes people tell that God was just a concept created by human beings to maintain morality in the society, so that people do not people fear him and they obey the laws. They maintain some morality and ethics in the society. So we'll be looking into that. That will be our topic of next session. So thank you very much. Uh, is there any questions anyone wants to ask? If anyone wants to ask any question, then he can unmute himself and ask.